All right. So, Christy, I am so glad that you are back with us at Awkwardly Zen to talk about the numbers of 2023. I am also going to be doing a PowerPoint for Christy while we're doing that. So, give me a second when we're ready for that. Are you ready for me to pull that up, Christy?
Yeah.
Before we do that, can you just tell everyone how you got into numerology and like why you love it?
Oh, absolutely. I have been doing numerology off and on since the late 80s, which, ages me a little, I suppose. I was with a friend. We were up in Evergreen, where 73 and 74, for those of you who know Evergreen in Colorado, intersect. There was a little metaphysical store there, and we were in there. And as you do sometimes, you're looking at a shelf of books and something just calls to you, almost like jumps out at you. And it was Dan Millman's book, The Life You Were Born to Live. And I have that in the resources that we'll share with you in a little bit. He's the guy who did The Peaceful Warrior, and it was made into a movie, if anybody's familiar with that. But I was interested in it, and it's the type of book that you can figure out your number pretty easily. And I looked up mine and read about myself, and it was so spot on. I was like, I have to buy this book. And at that time, I was early in my teaching career, and buying a hardback book was, a little bit of a stretch, actually, but I just did it almost without thinking, and have been interested in the numbers ever since.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, I am going to share my screen and try to get everything set up so I can see that. Uh, uh, there are certain things that are real easy here, guys, and certain things that are a little more complicated. All right. So, Christy, I'm going to pass it on to you. And you guys, that right there is Christy's info to get a hold of her. And I'm going to put over in the chat in a minute. She's running a special for Awkwardly Zen folks, which is amazing. If you've never had a numerology reading before, I highly suggest it because there are so many things that you wouldn't even think of, your name and address and all sorts of stuff that you can look at in numerology. So, Christy did a reading for me back when I first met her, and I highly recommend it. But we're going to go into this. Make sure you have your pens and papers handy. And Christy, we'll go to the next slide here.
Great. Great. Well, thank you. You won't need your pens and paper just yet. We're going to talk about the year and how the world year affects all of us. And then we'll be getting to our own individual numbers in a little bit. But we're just leaving the world year of 2022. And that was a 6 year. And the math in that is fairly simple. 2 + 2 + 2 is 6. And so we are leaving a world year of 6 and going
Christy, let me
into,
pause for just 1 second.
yeah.
I think I might be blocking people from seeing. I'm looking at
Oh,
your faces. Can you guys see that slideshow? Is everyone good? Okay. Phew. All right, never
oh.
mind. Sorry, just wanted to make sure I wasn't messing everything up.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. And so we had a lot of 2 energy in that year, as well as the 6. And we're going to talk about the numbers and the meanings of their numbers, but just quickly, the 6 is about home and family. And so that was the energy of last year, and it had a lot of 2 energy in it. 2 is about being together, relationships, details, connecting the dots kind of thing. And that was the energy of last year. And so this next year, 2023, we do the same thing. We add those numbers, 2 + 0 + 2 + 3, and we get to the next year. And after 6 comes 7. And so the world years are in order. And we go to 9 in numerology. And then we start over. So the world year is an important number because it affects everybody. Think about how many times you say the year, you write the year, maybe not as much as we used to when we were writing checks and that kind of thing, but for important documents, that number and that energy governs the year. And so that affects everyone, the world year. So here's 2023. We're in a 7 world year. And as I said, you were just adding those numbers together, the 2 plus the 0 and the 2 and the 3, and we get to 7. So this year the energy is much different than last year. 6 was relational and out with people and all of that. 7 is a number of the intellect. The numbers of the intellect are 1, 5, and 7, and it's the third number kind of, and it is kind of trajectory, if you will. 7 is the highest number of the numbers of the intellect, and it is a very much an inward number. And so it is a time to go inward and to really think about what's going on with you inside, in your mind, and also spiritually. And it's a very good year to think about where you are with your spirituality, um, focus on it, um, maybe do some reading, take some classes, discover, what it is you want to do. Is are the spiritual practices that you are using right now, are they helpful? Are they fulfilling you? Is there something different that you may need to do? And Awkwardly Zen is a great place to explore those kinds of things. So all of that will be key this year, the world year of 2023, a world year of 7. So what is also important to you as an individual is your personal year. Now, the world year is the same for everyone. And so everyone around us, the whole world is going through a 7-year. But to find your personal year, and some of you may have already done this, and I apologize, but we're going to go through how to do that. And so if you'll bear with us for a minute so that everybody's kind of everybody will be on the same page. So you take the month and day of your birth. And I'm using myself as an example. I am August 11th birthday. And so August is 8, an 8-month, and 11, 1 plus 1. If you add that up, it's 10. And then we always reduce to a single number, 0 through 9. Well, we wouldn't have a 0, but we do use 0 in numerology. So for me, I'm always adding 1 to whatever the world year is. And so I add it to, and I didn't change that. Oh, this year is 2023. Why do I'm sorry, I have a typo there. It says the world year of 2022. I didn't change that, but I did change it over here. Okay, 2023. So that's a 7, and we add that to the 1, and I am in a personal year of 8. So I am always at odds with the world year because the number right next to another number is kind of a clash. So the world is in a year of 7, going inward, talking about spirituality, living spirituality. And then in my personal year, I'm in the year of 8. And 8 is about achievement and getting things done. And it's the pinnacle of the life paths, and it's building something. So that's very different than the world going inward and being spiritual. So that's just an interesting thing that happens between the world year and our personal years. All right, so let's take a minute for you to figure your personal year. So you're going to take your birthday month and day and add those together and reduce until you get a single digit. And then add it. So I'm going to give you a little time to do that, and let us know in the chat if you have questions.
So once you get your numbers, Christy's going to go over what those mean here in a minute. So
Yes. But I wanted you to have your number to work with before we went through the numbers and their meanings. Each number has a meaning.
yes. So if you have 15, Clivia, you're going to want to reduce that down to a 6. Okay.
Five plus nine is 14 and five. Anytime we add something to nine, it's back to the same number.
Yeah, so Sue, yours 5 plus 9 is 14, so then it would be 1 plus 4, so your number would be 5.
Mhm.
Yep. Prince, you
So
got it.
we're finding life path buddies.
The current year is 7,
Yes.
starting today. We put last year's number as well for anybody who wanted to like look back in the year. So Marta, you're an 11, but you're also a 2, and Christy will go into that a little bit.
Oh, I see what I did. Okay. I was like, didn't I not change that? Oh,
Is it it was me who updated it, so I'm sorry if I messed something up.
no, no, no. It's okay. I thought I goofed up. All right.
Oh. 5. Okay. Green. Yep, that's right, Lauren.
418. So 4 to the year. So
Okay.
4 plus 7 is 11 or 2.
Okay, hold on. And that's for
Well, she popped up and
Michelle Antoinette. Yeah,
it
we have a
I don't see I don't see all of them. I see them one at a time. So
okay. Yeah,
whoever
so
that
that
was.
was Marie Antoinette. So Becky, yours would be 3 plus 1 plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 3 plus 7, right? Am I doing that math right?
Hmm.
9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. And that would be 3 plus 7 would be 10. So your number would actually be 1, Becky.
1. Yeah.
Okay. I'm confused. We only add the month and the day
Yes. Just the month and the day. And we add that to the current year.
to the current year total. So the current
Yes.
year total, remember that the current year total is the year added up. So the current year is a 7.
Yes.
Okay. If you need us to throw that in there, let us know. Okay, hold on, Kara. I'm trying to. This is where it gets hard because we're trying to cover that.
Right.
9 plus 7.
Yes. Spicy. Yes, Alicia. Yes. Yes. Valerie's helping. Yes. Okay. Good.
I think I'm missing people.
December 19th. So you add 12 and 19
But
together.
you're doing 1 plus 2 plus
Mhm.
1 plus 9.
Right.
Yeah, so 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9. So
Mhm.
3, 4, so that's 13, which would then be 4. And then you're going to add 4 to the year, which is 7, which becomes
Yes.
13, which means your number is 4. So that was for whatever, or who I did, 12, 19. Your number is 4. Okay, Kara, hold on. Let me ask you to unmute because I'm not understanding what's going on there. They're not adding their year of birth. You're not adding your year of birth.
No,
No,
no.
you're
Just
just
the
doing
month
your
and
month
day.
and the day.
And then you add it to our current year. And then that gives you your personal year. That we will, when we're talking about the life path, be using the year of your birth. But right now we're talking about your personal year.
And as far as reducing 11s and 22s, you will reduce them, but you also will kind of count that 11 and that 22. So Christy will talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we have a number that repeats like that, it's known as a master number, 11, 22, 33, 40, etc. And they have their own meanings.
Okay. All right. If you're still not getting your number, you guys, don't get flustered. Just go ahead. And if you don't want to put it in the messages and you want a private message, you can private message me or Valerie, and we can help with that too. And I don't know if we got everyone's questions. So just if we missed you, go ahead and put that in because there was a lot going on. And you can message
Yeah.
Valerie or me.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. Prince will go over a lot of that stuff here in just a second. Okay. Hold on one second and then we'll get going. Okay. Raquan is on the math. I like it. I'm not checking his math, so there you go. Okay, so remember, you guys, that it's your, so Amber put 10 plus 2. It's actually 1 plus 0 plus 2. So you're not doing 10 plus 2, you're doing each individual digit on its own. So you can take out
Yeah.
those if you want to.
Yes. Good point.
Yeah. So any double digits are going to get broken down in the math part of it. So like mine is February 20th, so it would be 2 plus 2 plus 0. And then that number got me to 4, and then 4 plus the year number, which is 7. So that number gets me to 11. And then so I have that master number of 11, but it also is a 2. So my year is a 2, or I could consider it an 11.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
All right. I
Right.
think we'll continue with people who are having issues with that in the chat, but I think it would be helpful if then we now talk about the meanings, the numbers and their meanings.
Absolutely. So if you are not there yet, go ahead and take a picture with your phone or a screenshot of this here, because I can't get the PDF to you quite yet. All right. So let's go to those meanings.
All right. So these are the numbers and their meanings for everything. Right now we're talking about the personal year, but anytime you see a 1, 1 represents change, and that can be your personal year, it can be your life path, etc. And so they're the numbers and the meanings in numerology in general, but this time we're talking about it as it applies to your personal year. So if you are in a personal year of 1, it's about new beginnings. It's the start of a new cycle. 1 is also about, it can be about change. 1 can be a competitive number, I'm number 1, or our team is number 1, that kind of thing. It's a number of the intellect. 1, 5, and 7 are numbers of the intellect. So it's a heady number in your head a lot. And it's a chance for you, if you're in a personal year of 1, to map out what you are thinking about, what it is you want to be, do, etc. in this next 9-year cycle. The years and the days and the numbers go in 9s. And so really this year is about seed planting. What is it that I want to do? Kind of figure that out and plant some seeds in that direction. It doesn't mean you have to do it all this year. You have 9 years to get there. But figuring out what it is you want to do would be number 1 priority, I would think. And then taking some steps towards it and see if that really feels like what it is you want to do. All right. If you're in a personal year of 2, 2 is a number that goes 2, 4, and 8 are what's called the business numbers. 2 is about connection between people or ideas. It's about connecting 2 dots with a line kind of idea. It's detail oriented and relationship oriented. It's about cooperation and working together with somebody to get something done. So the 2, 4, and 8, those are all business numbers. And 2 is the beginning of that. We start with the details. And then we might build to a box. And then we might build to a figure 8. kind of thing. All right. 3 is a social number and a creative number. 3, 6, and 9 are all creative numbers. And so if you're in a 3 year, you want to be looking at communication, being social, um, yeah, and being creative. Yeah. So working on all those sorts of things. So the 2 is the details, and when you add another dot, you get the triangle, and you get from 2 there becomes 3 kind of idea. All right. 4 year is about, as I said, 2, 4, and 8 are business numbers. So it's about business and it's about building a foundation. If you think of a four-sided figure, a square, it's very firm, it's very foundational. And so if you're in a 4 year, that's the kind of thing that you should be working on. Security is part of the energy of that business, and putting things in a box, sometimes literally. If you're in a personal year of 5, that's those numbers of the intellect, 1, 5, and 7. 5, if you think of a 5-pointed star in every direction, it's about change, it's about adventure, even freedom, going off in every direction, travel can be there. I'm a life path of 5, and the lesson of 5, if you're in a personal year of 5, is any direction will get you there. You just have to figure out which, pick one and then go deeper. Our tendency as 5s, it's kind of an airy, heady number, is to just, oh, let's try this. No, that's not working. Let's do this. And if you will stick with something and go a little deeper, perhaps you'll find the way. Um, a personal year of 6, 3, 6, and 9, those are those creative numbers, is about family. That was the world year energy that we had last year, if you remember. It's about taking care of people and relationships and family, however you define that. Family can be in the home, it can be at work, it can be this. Awkwardly Zen is a family of sorts. And it's about, your home and bringing beauty to it and comfort to those that share it with you and that kind of thing. So that's the energy of a personal year of 6. Personal year of 7 represents the spiritual number that we talked about. Our world year is that 7 number, the heady number, the thinking, the going within, spirituality, and analyzing things. 7s are a life path of 7. They're very much in their heads, and they're always analyzing people and situations and everything. So if you're in a personal year of 7, you'll be in your head a lot and going within, and it's a good time for that. And if that is not your life path, that can be kind of difficult, because it's almost like you're taking a pause and you feel like, oh no, I have to be doing something. No, really, it's a year for reflection and really honoring that and going inside and not being afraid to do that. A personal year of 8 is the height, the pinnacle of a cycle. You would think it would be 9, but 9 really isn't. We'll talk about that in a minute. So 8 is when you really, you started this, whatever you were working on this year, many years ago with that 1 year. And so this is the time when you really need to take action, take control of your life. And it can be about prosperity and material things. And it's really, if you think of 2 squares on top of each other as the 8, it's the pinnacle, it's the building, it's, everything that you've been working for. And then 9 is about closure. It isn't the pinnacle. It's about wrapping things up and maybe even starting to clear the way. 3, 6, and 9 creative numbers. 9 is about community, using creativity and that sort of energy for the sake of the world, your community, even whatever community that you have created for yourself. It can be also about letting things go figuratively and actually, concretely, like getting the stuff for the Goodwill bag together and getting it out of the house, that kind of thing. So that if you're in a personal year of 9, it's time to wrap it up and conclude what you started back at 1. Time to let go, build some closure, because your next year will be another 1 year and you'll be starting another 9-year cycle. And you need to be thinking about, where am I going with that? So those are the personal years, the numbers and their meanings. Do we have any questions particular to that?
Yeah, Valerie is gonna.
Yes, we have a couple of questions. First
Great.
question was, do these things happen in order? Meaning do we cycle through these in order?
Yes.
Okay. And then another question was, who decided what the numbers mean? Was this based on ancient wisdom? Where did the numerology develop from?
That's a really good question. The 9-year numerology system comes from Pythagoras. And you might remember the Pythagorean theorem from geometry and math that we are studying. And it is based on his number system. And I think it probably predates that, but that is this particular system. There are other numerology systems. There's one from India, and I have not studied the other ones. This is the one that I use. But yes, they are planted in, I think, very old and ancient wisdom.
Perfect. And then the last question is, if the personal number is individualized, what is the relevance of the world year? If you could just clarify those again.
Yes. The personal year and the world year can be at odds. Mine are always right next to each other. And when numbers are next to each other, there is definitely a clash. And so you have to keep that in mind when you're working your personal year, that it may be at odds with the world year, just for an example. That's the way it always is for me. And what I do is I am aware of the world year's energy and how that, and recognize that has an effect on me. But what I focus on is my personal number, my personal world year, not my personal year, not the world year.
Perfect. And
That's what I do.
thank you. And then the final question, and I think you may have mentioned this, the significance of when you have your world year and your personal year the same number.
Oh, yes, that is double energy, double whammy. And so every year you get a double dose of whatever number it is. Yeah, so it's very strong. And it's really important to work with that number in that case.
All right, thank you. I think that's all the questions for now.
Thank you for doing that. All right, so let's see. Personal year, the world year. All right, so we figured out our personal years by adding the month and days of our births. And in numerology, there's what's known as a life path number. That's what you were born into this world to learn. It isn't what you came with. This is what you work on your entire life. And that's why it's called your life path number. And this time we're going to add the month and day of our birth and then add the year you were born. So you take the number you already used and add the year of your birth, and you will get your life path number. All right, and so we have the example here of February 20th, 1979. So we take 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 9. And then we keep reducing until we get a single digit of 3. She's a 33. So the 3 and the 0 are part of that life path. You can also get to 3 with 1 and 2. And so a 1 and 2 life path has a little different energy than a 3-0 life path. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. I always get ahead of myself. Sorry. Let's take a minute and have you guys go ahead and figure your life paths if you don't already know them. No.
So 11 does become a 2, but again, 11 and 22. Maybe Christy, while people are figuring that out, you can talk a little bit about the 11 and the 22.
Yeah, the master numbers, when we have a number that repeats, you can go ahead and reduce that. For example, if you get to 11, that's a 2 life path, but you can also simply leave it at 11. The repeating number is what makes it a master number, 11, 22, 33, etc. And the energy of 11 is different than the energy of 2. 11, I don't know, some people always look at the 11s, and I'm one of those people. If I see 1111, I say whatever affirmations I'm saying until it changes. But if you think of 11 as goalposts or a gateway, it is the way through, and it's a path. And so when you see the 11s like that, it's a very auspicious time, and a life path of 11 is a very spiritual path. It's a guided path through this gateway, if you will. And it also has the double energy of 1. So it has all those things. 22 is also a master number, which would reduce to 4. So we have the energies of 2s and the energy of 4. So that those numbers are different, and there are people who would say don't reduce that and don't make that 22 a 4 life path. I like to think of it both ways and figure it both ways and let people know that both of those energies, I think, are present in that life path.
All right. Do you want to move on to what the meanings are for the path numbers?
Sure.
All right.
All right. These are the numbers, and you'll see that there's some overlap in the numbers and their meanings in general and as they apply to the life path. So you think about the number 1, and we talked about how it's new beginnings. So a person with a 1 life path are the people who are going to start things. They're pioneers, they're leaders, they're making the path, they're doing something new. And that is what they've been born to do. That's their life path. They don't come into the world doing that. That is what they're here to learn. So eventually, and typically, if given enough time, they get to that point in their life when they are doing that. But they're not born that way. They become that. Does that make sense? That's the life path. That's the path, the journey. Okay, so a life path of 2, those people are very detail oriented. Remember, we talked about the 2 dots and making the lines. And I have a friend who's a 2 life path, and we were work colleagues. And I'm a 5, so I'm all over the place. And detail is, kind of last on the list. So we were an interesting combination. And it actually worked well because I could be big picture and she could be detail. And then a 2 life path, they want cooperation. They want people to be together, if you think about 2 in that way. And they're very relationship oriented. And And how can I make this work? They don't like conflict. They're very conflict avoidant. They would rather have people be cooperating, and they make great mediators. And this is, again, once they've come into the life path. This is what they're here to learn. So they don't start out that way, but midlife and towards an end of life, they are usually, they have their life path together. Threes are here to learn about creativity. Remember, 3, 6, and 9 are the creative numbers. And think of the triangle or the Trinity. They're expressive people, creative, very social communicators. And that's what the 3 life path is here to learn. 4s, I have a daughter who is a 4, and they're very in the box sorts of people. Everything is tidy. And she and I, with my 5 life path, we we clash, but it works out. She has her strengths, I have mine, and it can work. When people talk to me about, is this a good numerology match? Well, you can make things work. And that's one of the reasons I always advocate for people to know the numbers of the people they're seeking relationships with, because if you know it, you can flex to it, right? And figure out, oh, she's just trying to put everything in a box. Let her do that, and I'll go off, do something else, So they're very process oriented. They're very stable, secure people in their life path, and they want security. They want things to be the same. They're very structured, orderly, and that's their life path. 5s, that's my life path. We have any 5s here? You can raise your hand, I guess. I don't know.
Say some 5s.
Yeah, we got some 5s. They're the star, the adventurers. We're off in every direction. We seek freedom. We're quick thinkers, talkers usually. And the lesson of 5, what I have found is that if you just pick something, you don't have to go off in every direction, and you give it a little depth, you will figure it out. The 6 life path from the 3, 6, and 9 group, it's a creative number, but what they like to create is a family of some sort. And they're very interested in creating a beautiful home, peaceful home, cooperative, harmonious home. They're very responsible, and they can be perfectionistic. My brother is a 6 life path. So interesting that I have clash with my brother, 5 and 6, and my daughter, 4 and 5. And then my son and I are exactly the same. So that it's always interesting to do the life paths of people around you. And it really helps to know that, to figure out how to better work with each other. Okay, so 7 we've talked about, that's our world year. 7 life paths are analytical, very spiritual, and introspective. They're in their heads a lot. If you happen to know a 7 person, that's the number of the intellect, 1, 5, and 7. Very heady, always, thinking, analyzing. They want to know all of it, and before they can make a decision. So that can be quite frustrating to other life paths, like a 4, that would drive them crazy because they want to get it done. The 7 wants to know all the angles and what's going to happen and analyze everything. So an 8 life path, that's the pinnacle of the numbers, remember, and so that's the top. 8s are very driven, very ambitious, money makers. They can be. 8, if you think of a racetrack, you can be at the pinnacle or you can be at the bottom. You can make it all or lose it all. And that can be the life of an 8 life path. They make good entrepreneurs. My brother has some 8 in his life paths, and he has made it all and lost it all too. So that's a business number, 2, 4, and 8. And then 9 again is the end of the life path, the numbers. And the life path of 9, Gandhi was a 9, if you can think of it that way. They are compassionate. They are about community, giving back, they're old souls, humanitarians. So someone on a 9 life path is really here to make a difference in our world. And their life path is most fulfilled when they're doing things like that. So 0, I've added there to the numbers. There isn't a 0 life path, but if you have a 3-0 to get to your 3, you can think about 0 as being potential, creativity. Think about the egg, the 0 looks like an egg. So if you have that 0 before you get to and I wanted to put the meaning of 0 in there so that you could know. So one more thing about the numbers, the life paths. In order to get to my 5, I get there with 3 and 2. You can also get there with 5 and 0 and 1 and 4, before you finally reduce to the single digit. So the 3 and 2 are also a part of my life path, if that makes sense. So there's types of 5s and 4s and 7s, and the 2 numbers before you reduce play a role in that. So I have a 3, which is that creativity and being social part. And then I have that detail, cooperation, relationship part in my 5, if that makes sense.
Awesome. We've got people
What questions do we have?
We have people asking if there's going to be a PDF. We are working on that right now. My screen is tied up, so I can't get into the Google Drive. So Valerie's working on that.
Thank you.
And then keep in mind, you guys, we're recording this. So this will be on awkwardlyzen.com on your Zen feed. So make sure that you're a member. You can be a free member or a paid member. It doesn't matter. In the next day or so, this video will also be up there so that you can go back and rewatch the bits and pieces that you are kind of confused about. All right. Some other questions. Val, have you got any that are popping up? I'm just giving Val all the jobs. We do have, go ahead.
There was a question from Mary about adding birth time in, if that's ever done.
It is not done to find your life path or any of the main numbers of numerology, but I think it would be a very interesting thing to look at, actually. And I have not had that question before. So yeah, that would be an interesting thing to do in a session and see what those numbers were.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things, you guys, is the cool part about numerology is that you can do numerology on many different things by adding all of those numbers together in that single digit way. I, however, am really glad that there's people like Christy who like to do that, because she'll fly through all these different things and tell you how this impacts you and what this means and how this number works, and then also answering questions about like those 11s and those 22s and those 33s. We did have a question about if somebody had 3 7s, for instance, would that mean it's triple energy instead of kind of double energy?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Very strong. That would be very strong then. The 7 energy and spirituality and being in your head and airy would be triple, at least, if not to the 3rd power.
All right. And I did just put the special offer into the chat there for a 3rd off of numerology session. So you can email Christy at chrismudder, CHRISMUDDER@gmail.com. I want to put that out for the video as well. So reach out to you. Okay, so if you are an 11, 2 is the number you're going to look at, but also remember what Christy's been saying about those 11s. And let's see. Okay, we also have a question of any predictions about how the energy of the world will play out this year. That's a big question.
Yes. Well, it will be interesting. I think that maybe it will be a year where people will take a little time to think things through. That would be good.
Pretty good.
We got the 4 and the 3 and the 7. And so we have the 2s, it will still be relational and details. And but we add that 3, which is about creative. And maybe it will be some creative solutions. And we'll take some time to think things through and actually make some progress. That would be really good. I'm just thinking out loud about it. I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's so great about it is that we all can sit in that energy and think about what that means to us
Mhm,
and what
mhm.
we want that to be in our world. Uh,
Yes,
which is really
indeed.
great. We have someone asking about how Hebrew numerology is different. Any thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Perfect. That's a perfect answer. That's
Sorry.
such an awkwardly zen answer. I love it. I don't know. All right. And you don't have a website, right? So it's just your email.
I don't. And I was going to have a website. It was called What's Your Number? And then didn't renew the domain and someone else took it. It's evidently a movie. What's Your Number? And that was going to be mine. But so
Well, Christy, we'll have to get you added onto the Awkwardly Zen Partners page, and then you'll have a website. Uh,
there you go.
all right, Gray Rabbit, did you have your hand up there? Nope. Okay, never mind. Don't unmute. Ignore that little button that just popped up. Okay, and then people are asking, so what's at this exact moment on January 1st of 2023, that doesn't come out naturally yet. It's a third off of your full price. So they were just asking what your full price is. I'm just saying it might change if you're watching this video later on.
It's 75.
75 is the original.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so $50.
Uh-huh.
All right. Awesome. And those can be done via Zoom, correct?
Yes.
All right. All right. So there's some questions there. So we also have these numbers here. Christine, you want to go over that, or Christy?
Yeah, I did talk about that a little bit as we were going through the numbers, but the numbers, there's 3 sets of 3, and the 1, 5, and 7 are the numbers of the intellect. They're very heady, airy numbers. People, you've known people like that who are always in their head, and it's kind of like, huh, they're not really aware of their surroundings. That's the energy of the 1, 5, and 7. 1 is about new beginnings. 5 is that change and being all over the place, traveling kind of number, and 7 is the spiritual in your head number. Then we have the numbers of building, and that is usually metaphorical in meaning. It can actually be building, but 2 is the line, 4 is the box, and 8 is the 2 boxes on top. So 2 is about details, 4 is about security, making things just so, and 8 is about actually building something. And then 3, 6, and 9 are the numbers of creativity. 3 is about the social connections and communicating, creating. 6 is about using that 3, double 3 gets you to 6, using that to create something. And typically that can be a home, a business, a family structure. And then 9 goes out again to the world, to the community, and uses the creative energy to help everyone.
Okay. Awesome. We have a question about, are the personal and life numbers to be considered lessons to be learned, transformations, or are they merely a description of the current status?
No, it's a path. That's why it's called a life path. And it is definitely something you're born with, because that's the number you come here with. But it is a journey. It's a lifelong thing to use that and become what you can with it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the whole life.
And then we have, what did you notice about the number 6 in this last year? Any takeaways?
Oh, well, I I the I don't know. I don't know that I can put my thoughts together on that. It was definitely a 6, and it was about community and coming together as a family, in my personal world, and then in the larger community as well. And it was definitely about relationships, all those twos that was very prime, I think.
Yeah, I definitely saw as far as building, I mean, in Awkwardly Zen, that was a huge thing this year
Mhm.
of growing and becoming, I think, even closer as a community, which has been great.
Mhm.
Okay. And then can you hit on Christy, so as far as good and bad numbers, because there's some people that get panicked about certain numbers that come up that might feel like, oh, this is going to be tough or this is going to be that. What have you seen over the years as you've been looking into numerology as far as that concept of good and bad?
Oh, I don't think there's any such thing as good and bad numbers. I think it's an energy you work with. And that's why it's so important to know it. Um, and I, in fact, I sought out relationships based on numbers eventually, thinking, oh, that I will find a perfect relationship that way. Well, that's not how it turned out. Imagine that. But it's really a learning process, and it's about flexing. You would say to yourself, oh, I can't have a relationship because I'm a 5 and you're a 4. We can't, no, the numbers will clash. Well, not necessarily. You might have a 4, you might get to year 5 with a 1 and a 4. So you might have some numbers in your numerology that will allow you to flex and work with that person because it's present in your numerology.
Mhm.
So I don't, like the number 13 gets a bad rap. I don't think there is such a thing as a bad number.
Well, and I think it's like anything else, how you look at it and what you choose to do with it is up to you, right? So if you know that
Right.
there might be something that could create challenges for you, knowing that you're going in with a positive attitude and you're keeping your frequency high and doing all of that instead of dreading, uh,
Right.
can make a big difference as well.
Exactly.
It's if we want to use things as excuses, then we'll find a way to do that.
Right. That's true too. Yeah.
Uh, All right. So Gina's talking about how Tesla talked about 3, 6, and 9 as magical numbers. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have read about that, and that intrigued me when I ran across that too. But I see 3, 6, and 9 as creative numbers. And so, he was such a creator, and so you know, you know, was and so I can see why he would see those numbers as magical because he was a creator. That's my take on it.
Yeah, interesting. Can you just real quick again go over, and we need to add a slide for next year on master numbers. Can you just hit on those
Oh,
numbers again?
yeah. Well, anytime we have the double number, it's what's called a master number. And the ones most commonly spoken about, especially are 11. That's the main one. 11 as the gateway, and then sometimes 22. And so what I do when I run across those numbers, like say in a life path, um, I will leave it as 11, but then I will also think of it as a 2. And so we have the double 1 energy also. So that person is double in um, all the meanings that we talked about with number 1. The 2 is present when we reduce it, and then we also have 11 as that gateway and that pathway. So they're very special numbers. So in a life path, they're very special. And if I could make a little segue, I held this book up a minute ago. This is the book that jumped out at me at that metaphysical store. It's called The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan Millman. And he has a whole section that goes into the master numbers separately. And some people think of it that way
Awesome.
too.
Yeah, we could probably do a whole class on that. I have a private message that says in Germany 13 is good luck. So there you go.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
different things there. All
Uh-huh.
right. So do you want to run over these numerology resources
Yeah.
and kind of
Yeah.
what
I
you need?
this book by Dan Millman is complex and full of a lot of information, and for some people it might be a little overwhelming, but it is a Bible of sorts, a sacred book, however you want to think of it, to me as a numerologist. Then there is a famous woman, Glynis McCants, who does the numerology of famous people. And Glynis has your number. I think it actually is, not numbers. Is a book that she wrote, and she's often on the radio show Coast to Coast, if anybody listens to that. And she has, if you look her up, she has a Facebook page, I believe. And then yes, because she does Facebook Live. But a book I would highly recommend, and it's not very expensive if you are interested in this and want to know a little more, is a little book, not very well known, by Louise Hay. And many of you may know her, but this little book, it's called Colors and Numbers, and it gives the meanings of the numbers and then the colors associated with the numbers. Today is a 1 day for me, which is so exciting because all the numbers this month are going to correspond with the date. So I get the double energy. And so I'm wearing red. Red is the color of 1. And then if you're interested in getting your daily numeroscope figured for you, there is an email that you can subscribe to through Daniel Hart, and it will come in your inbox every day and tell you what your day is going to be.
Yeah, I love that. And it makes me think about when you did my reading. One of the reasons, so my name is Ari, but it's spelled Ari, which is often pronounced Ari. And I have many times thought about respelling my name, but I won't because it messes up the numerology of my name. And I remember during my reading how important that felt, like when we went through it and how we did all of that. And so I've not respelled my name because of that. However, there are a lot of people in the metaphysical world that do come up with different names. And I think sometimes they're matching their names to the numerology they connect with more.
I would hope so. I would hope they would seek that out because that would be really important.
And that's one of the things you go over in your readings, which is awesome. It's funny. I mean, that's how much of an impact you made on me, Christy, is I have not changed the spelling of my name. All right. So here again is her email address. So you can see it up on the screen there. And then I do think we have a few extra minutes to go over that last little bit there. Do you want to do that, Christy?
Sure.
Okay. So let's do some more math, you guys. We're real good at it.
So you already have, you're going to add your personal year, which you already figured, to the month, which is January. So you take that and add that together, and you will get your personal month. So for example, mine is 1, and so I add it to January 1, and so the month is 2 for me. And then you can do the same thing with the day. I would take 2 and add it to the first. Oh, that's what I just did. So that we get that day. Yeah. So take a minute and do that. And let me know if there are questions about that.
Kathy said slide number 1111. And to add to that, Kathy, when I sent the PDF for Christy this morning, the size of it was 111.11. So I mean, we were all about it. I got real excited.
That's very good. Yeah.
I felt like that was an auspicious start to the year.
Absolutely.
All right. If we have missed your questions, you guys over in the chat, please write them again. We've been trying to keep up with it, but between Val and I trying to get that PDF up, we might have missed it. So, okay. Okay. And can you remind people, Christy, how would you use these personal month and day numbers? Like, how could you?
Yeah, I use this all the time, and that's why I dress in the color of the day. It sounds a little odd, but it just keeps me reminded of it every day, all through the day. Oh yeah, I'm working so today is a 1 day. What seeds am I planting? What am I going to begin? I have a 9-day cycle. There's a 9-year cycle. There's a 9-day cycle. There's a 9-month cycle. So here's my 1 day. It's the start of a new cycle. What do I want to accomplish? What am I going to be doing for these next 9 days? And what do I need to do today to start that in motion? I don't have to do much, actually. I can just plant that little seed, literally or figuratively. I've even planted seeds on a 1 day. It's a good day for seed planting.
Fresh starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like if somebody had a 9, it might be a good day to look through what they might want to leave behind or what they might want to finish up, correct?
Yeah, let's finish this all up. Let's clear this away. I'm going to start thinking about what I'm going to do next. So I don't want anything left over from this necessarily. Let's wrap this up. On a 9-day, I tend to give some way, somehow, give to someone else. It can be really practical in terms, I can take a bag to the Ark, or I can write a check to a charity, or, something like that, do something for somebody else. It can be like that, but it can also be a clearing away. So I can get ready for what am I going to do next? I've got to clear my desk, clear my head, all of that.
And for the personal day, it's just today's date is a 1, right? So it would be for the day, like tomorrow would be the personal year number. So 7 + 2 or whatever your personal year. So my personal year is, what is my personal year this year? A 2. So it would be 2 + 1 for today.
Yes.
So my day
But
number.
no, you would add 2 + 1 is January. So your January is 3.
Okay.
You're in a 2-year.
I'm in a 2-year.
Okay. So you add that to January. This is a 3-month for you. And then you add the 1. So it's
Okay.
a 4-day for you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah. So that's what the question is. So the personal month or the personal day would be your year. So mine is a 2
Mhm.
+ 1 + 1.
Mhm.
Okay, because it's 1/1 today,
Yes.
but not the year.
No, you don't add in the current year because you're doing your personal numbers.
Okay, so then tomorrow, my personal day would be
Yeah.
my year, which is 2 + 1 + 2.
Yes.
So my day tomorrow would be a 5.
And it just goes in order like that.
And a 6, and then okay. And then somebody's asking, do you off the top of your head know the colors for the numbers?
I do.
Okay.
I do. One is it follows kind of the chakras, the way Louise Hay set it up, and it's helpful to me just because it reminds me of the day all day long. 1 is red, 2 is orange. It can also be black and white because 2 is about duality. 3 is yellow, 4 is green, 5 is blue, kind of a light blue, and then 6 is more of a cobalt blue. How that kind of merges into that. And then 7 is purple, 8 is pink, and 9 is kind of you can do pastels or kind of a gold, like in the clouds kind of color.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point for next time, to maybe add a slide about the colors.
It's a fun one for sure. I'm going to go back to numbers meanings for anyone who needs to look at that. We have a question. Do we use the personal year meanings chart to interpret the month and day numbers as well? So it would be this chart right here, right?
Yeah, I think that would still be helpful. The numbers and their meanings all kind of stay the same. What I've done is just apply them like to a life path. 1 is always about being number 1, being competitive, getting things done, starting things. And, if you think about life paths in terms of that, then we get the pioneers, the driven leaders, and the potential. But the numbers generally, the meanings stay the same. I've just applied them to a life path or to a day.
Well, like for instance, using me as an example, if I was going to try to do something and I was trying to structure something and get it done, and I'm having trouble with that, if I found out I was on a 5-day, that's because I'm all over the place and I need to
Right.
be fun and be creative. But
Yeah.
on 6, it's about responsibility. So I might have better luck getting that done the next day,
Right. Or a 4-day. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just wait a whole week. And, uh,
Well,
all
you
right.
can still work with that energy. You could somehow make the task creative, or you could promise, you can do something creative if you get this done, or,
Yeah,
whatever.
I love that. Okay, so someone asked that it seems like you could structure your daily life based on personal month and day numbers. How has that impacted your life?
Oh, absolutely. I do that. And it's interesting because every once in a while I'll be off, and I don't mean to be, but the month has changed and it's gotten away from me, and I've gone along as if it's, yesterday was 5, so today must be 6, but no, the month has changed, and it just feels off. It doesn't work. And then I'll have an aha moment. I'll read my email from Daniel or something, and oh, aha. It was the wrong day for that, what I was trying to do. So it definitely has had a large impact. And I really do try to work with the energies and structure my day. It's a little easier for me now. I'm retired from my teaching job, and so I can play around with the numbers and have a little more flexibility to do what I want when, based on the numbers. But yeah, it's been a big thing in my life, and it has helped relationship wise, and how I perceive my relationships. It's helped me with my relationship with my daughter, for example, and even at work, with my teammate who's now become my dear friend. She drove me crazy for a while with that too stuff. It's just like, I don't want to make another notebook. I want to get this done. But she was very much wanting to organize everything. And that's her life path. And so what's helpful about it is it takes the personal away. It's like, oh, she's just being a jerk about it. No, it's her two energy, and it just takes that energy out of it. And I have meant to write a book for teachers about it, and how to teach a 2 child if you're a 5 teacher kind of thing. And I just haven't done it, but I think it would make a good book.
Yeah, the personality aspect.
Uh-huh.
Lynn is asking if there is a numerology meaning if you add your birth year with the current year.
No.
Okay.
But you should take a look at your birth year and the world year and how they are interacting. Not add them together, but look, at them, because mine, for example, is always one off, and so it's a bit of a clash. I think it's helpful to look at the 2 years, but not add them together.
Okay. Is there a color associated with 0?
No,
Okay.
not
Uh,
that I'm aware of. Maybe white, the egg.
all right. I'm going down here. Colleen said she wishes teachers understood her one energy. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. I think it
There
would really be helpful.
somebody had a numerology oracle deck and pulled cards to help with guiding on that. Have you ever done that?
I have not. I'm not familiar with a numerology deck.
I thought I had one, but I don't see it. Okay.
I'll look into that. Thank you. Thank you for
I'm
that.
gonna stop sharing so I can see everybody. And I'm going to take you off spotlight. Is there any other questions? I think, Valerie, have I missed any? Nope.
Nope, I don't see
Okay,
any.
and Valerie is going to put the link one more time for the PDF over in the chat. So if you are looking for that, it will also be in the comments for the videos or in the video. So again, go to awkwardlyzen.com, make sure you join one of those memberships. The free one will get you access to that in the next day or two. It will be up there. I accidentally recorded it to my computer and not the cloud, which means it's my responsibility. So good luck, y'all. All right, Johnny, you have a question?
Yes, what is Daniel Hart's website URL? I can't find him.
Okay, hold on one second.
That's a good question. I get an email from him every day. Daniel, it's HARDT.
Right. I looked that up
Okay.
and all I could get was a physician or something, a doctor.
I think he's in Illinois. Well,
It's over in the chat. It is Mary found it. It is
oh, good.
lifepathnumerology.com.
Yes. Life
Okay.
path. Yes.
Thank
There
you.
we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good question. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Great, you guys. Thank you so much. And Valerie's putting some other websites over there. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Christy, as always, you are a wealth of information.
Oh,
You
thank
guys take advantage of the amazing deal that she is doing, because you will get so much information about so many different things that you're not even thinking about tied to numerology. I loved my reading from you. And so I'm so grateful to all of you. I am super excited for this new year and Awkwardly Zen and hanging out with all of you and all the amazing opportunities we have to bring in new speakers and our trusted speakers. And you guys have a fabulous new year. There is another event right after this on crystals. So be looking for that on the meetup page. If you have not joined the Awkwardly Zen meetup, please go be our 10,000th member. And please today, you guys, let's be in spirit together in that, because that is an amazing thing that we have done over the last 2.5 years. And so I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you, Christy, for being here. Thank you, Val and Jacqueline, for helping me
Yes. Thank
moderate.
you very much.
And love to all of you. Have a fabulous day.